There we go. That's working. I'm just gonna wait for a few people to show up. Hey, we got one person already. And then I want to talk about an astral projection experience I know a lot of you have wanted to hear about for some time now. I talked about it over on Instagram, but I've yet to make a YouTube video about it, and so this is kind of it on a live stream. Also, this is a Q&A, so if any of you have any questions on the topic of astral projection, just let me know by writing it in the comment section, and I'll be able to see it on my computer to my right. Let's get this up here. Yo, hello, hi, yo, what's up? Hi, hey, hello. Awesome, 47 people here, 69 people here. Hey, okay, 80 people. Hey, do you believe in alternate dimensions on Earth? I do. Actually, I have a YouTube video where I talk about how I astral projected, and I was taken up by some weird force. I'm not sure what it was, but I was able to look down on the planet and I saw a bunch of sacred geometry, the flower of life to be more specific. And then as I went further out into space, an Earth appeared behind our Earth, and then again down, and I saw 4 Earths, and then again to the side, and there was 8 Earths creating a pyramid, not pyramid, creating, that's the topic of this video, creating a cube. And the 8 Earths were merging into each other. And the whole vibe that I got from that was parallel Earths. So yeah, but in this video, I want to be talking about an astral projection experience I had a couple of weeks ago where, where I visited the pyramids. And so yeah, damn, it's day in Bali. Yep, it is day. Can you all hear me properly? Is everything okay on your end? Is the stream bugging out? This is just using a phone. And so Ryan, yes, sounds good, great, yes. I also have to go and get my charger because this could die midstream. And so I'm gonna plug it into my laptop. But let's give it a minute. I want to give people more time to come into the stream before I talk about it. And then we can go into some astral projection tips, and we'll see how that goes. Natty watching. Okay. I think we're almost ready. Yes, I can hear. Hey, Ryan. Love you, Ryan. What's your favorite crystal? Cool. My favorite crystal? I'm biased here, but it's gonna have to be amethyst because I have a history with amethyst. Well, that is such a good camera angle. Now I'm looking at this on the YouTube screen. Yeah, we're good here. Just adjust this a little bit. I'm not really a fan of the angle. Quality's great though. I need to move. Okay, you guys ready to hear about the experience? Ryan, what is your sign? I'm Taurus. Yes, yes, hi. Okay. Making slight adjustments here. Oh, you're taking too long. I'm out. Really? It's been 5 minutes. Okay. So every time when I attempt to astral project, every time when I attempt to meditate for other reasons other than astral projection, sometimes I get bored. And in the middle of what it is I'm trying to attempt, whether it be altering my state of mind or doing some type of healing session or regression session, I realize that I have this vast opportunity to leave the body because I don't have to put so much effort into leaving the body. I put more effort into doing these other meditations, rather than astral projection. And so I was laying in my bed last week and I was in the middle of a meditation. And I get to that point where I realized that I could just leave whenever I want. And so what I decided to do is, well, first off, I think, you know, where have I, where haven't I been yet? I haven't been to the pyramids. A lot of you guys keep telling me to go and visit the pyramids. And so I decide to then quit the meditation that I'm doing and I slide out of my body and I'm standing right here in this room. Now, I have a couple of ways of getting there. I could either teleport or I can ask the dimension to take me there. One's easier than the other. I decided to go with asking the dimension to take me there. And so there's this thing I do in the astral plane, which I call interfacing, where you feel the intelligence of the dimension that you're in, and you can do it here as well. You can feel the intelligence of this third dimension, and you essentially ask it for a favor. It can be, show me where this person is, or take me to this person. It could be take me to Hawaii, and you've probably never been to Hawaii, so you have no visual concept there to play off of. It knows what Hawaii looks like, and so it can take you there. It knows what Asia looks like, it knows what Vietnam looks like, it knows what Bali looks like, it knows what a lot of things look like, and so all you have to do is ask it, and it will take you there. And so I use this same approach to astral projecting to the pyramids. I interfaced with the dimension and I asked it to take me to Egypt. And I closed my eyes because sometimes it's easier to travel if you close your eyes. The mind, it can get in the way with the process sometimes. Sometimes the mind has a hard time believing that you can actually disappear and then reappear somewhere else. And so if you close the eyes in the astral plane, you can actually get there much faster. So I close my eyes and I get a little curious and I decide to peek. And as I open my eyes, I notice that the room is getting blotchy. Like there are large chunks of the room that are changing from this environment to a more sandy, pinkish huey environment. At that point, I just leave my eyes wide open and I notice that the entire room changes into a pyramid. I say change. I should probably reiterate. It disappeared. It was like this reality dematerialized and the other one bled through. That'd be the best way to put it. And I found myself inside of a smaller pyramid. At that point, I thought to myself, great, the whole thing just kind of messed up. I figured, this pyramid is way too small. The other pyramids are much bigger. I must be in the wrong pyramid. There are so many other pyramids out there, right? Not only that, but this pyramid was slightly pink on the inside. It was still sandy color, but it had like a pinkish hue, kind of like when you see marble, and it reflects that bluish pink hue. The marble is white, right? And so the same thing happened with this pyramid. The inside was giving off this pinkish color. I decided to come back to my body because I'm pretty sure at that point I'm in the wrong location. But then, whilst I'm talking about my experience on Instagram, a viewer described as to how there are chambers in the pyramids. Well, dud rooms, fake rooms, which are built on purpose to dissuade thieves from trying to enter the pyramids to steal jewels and treasure, right? Then I suffice that I probably just astral projected to one of these dud rooms, the fake pyramids. And that, well, given the fact that there were no doors in there, I more than likely did show up in a booby trap of sorts. Okay, so I came back to my body. And I do that simply by thinking, okay, return home, I want to go home. And at this point, I hardly have to think. I slightly graze the thought of returning back and I'm automatically here. And then I jump back in. I'm there for a while, in my physical body, not quite fully grounded yet into this reality, but I'm thinking to myself, if I want to, I could just slide back out. And perhaps if this time, if I just keep walking, I could walk through the doorless dud pyramid, the fake room, and just find myself walking through the many tunnels and passages that supposedly exist underneath the pyramids. But I didn't try to astral project again. I actually got up and I ended up doing some things around the house. And so that was my astral projection experience where I astral projected to the pyramids, and I am going to attempt to do it again. And when I do, I'll make a better video. This one is just a quick live stream and me discussing, any questions on astral projection afterwards. And so I felt comfortable with just talking about this little kind of test experience that I had in the astral plane. Okay. And so, yeah, let's look at some of the questions. So thankful to be here in this moment. Awesome. Cool. Do you believe? Oh, there we go. Let's look at them over here. They disappear so fast on here. Hope you enjoyed it. I did. Here's a good one. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned this. I didn't talk about this astral projection experience, I don't think. I mentioned a couple of experiences where I tried to get to the bottom of the ocean, but I actually did get there. At least the part that I was at, because there are so many places to go to down there. Quantum Trace 711 says, "Hey Ryan, have you gone to the bottom of the ocean yet?" Yeah, so this is what happened. Similar occasion to the one that I mentioned earlier in this live stream. I was in the middle of a meditation and realized that it's easier for me just to leave the body. And so I diverted and I slid out and I dematerialized my astral body, materialized on the surface of the sea. Perfect location. I'm laying there, I'm floating, I'm thinking, okay, I just need to drop. I just need to phase down. And it's strange because you don't feel any temperature. You don't feel the temperature of your environment with your astral body. Of course, it's not a physical body. And the same thing can be said for buoyancy. You don't actually feel yourself floating. I guess the mental idea of expecting to float is what keeps you just there, whilst the waves move around you and you don't actually budge. It's really weird because, of course, you're in more of a spiritual body. And so I think just phase through the atoms of the water and just drop to the bottom. And as I'm sinking, or as I'm falling, better put, of course everything gets dark. And I start to get monkey mind. I start to think to myself, the world is closing in around me and I'm getting claustrophobic, but I just feel like if I just kind of stick through it, everything's gonna be fine, you know? Can you hear that noise? There's a school of ducks walking behind the camera. Okay, so I find myself shifting through the particles of water and just falling deeper and deeper in the ocean. Everything is getting black. And I kind of calm myself down energetically. And then I hit the bottom. But here's the interesting thing. When you're up there, you know, floating above the water and you're looking down, everything looks dark because there's no light down there. But as you fall down, the sunlight is actually lighting up the space. So by the time you get to the bottom and you look up, everything actually looks kind of bright. Not a whole lot of brightness gets to the bottom of the seabed, but enough for you to see where you're walking. And so when I got to the bottom, I realized that I actually felt very safe there because I could see. And that the whole perception of darkness as you're sinking is just the trick of the light. And so, yeah, that was that experience. Let's look at some more of your questions. What if you can't get back to your body? It's very hard not to get back to your body. The only way that I got stuck before in the astral plane was because upon astral projecting, I deliberately decided to remove the memory of where I was at, you know, my location. At the time I was in Costa Rica, I was laying there and I had a sense of where I was at. I was in my bed on top of a mountain and this is a physical reality. It looked really nice. And whilst being there, yeah, like I knew that I had traveled to Costa Rica and that my partner was next to me and I knew where I was at. And so I have experienced experiences whereby which my memories have been stripped away from me by the means of an ego death, you know, taking DMT or being on ayahuasca, and I've been able to recreate the ego death state off of psychedelics. So what I did was I had this this incredible idea to mix the states, mix an ego death state with astral projection, and fine tune the ego death so that I can strategically pull out certain memories so that I couldn't remember where I came from, you know. So I pulled out the memory of where I was at whilst I was in the hypnagogic state, and then I ended up in the astral plane with the memory of who I was. It wasn't a full ego death, and what I was doing, but I just couldn't for the life of me remember where I came from. And so that kind of screwed things up because I got stuck in there for, I don't know how long it was. I got so bored. I freaked out, calmed myself down, just over time. I sat on the floor, got bored of thinking, materialized a bouncy ball, bounced that against the wall to the point where I was bored. I sat in every corner of the room, everywhere in the room because I was there for so long. And eventually, four people showed up from around the world. I know that they were from around the world because they spoke different languages. And they told me to sit down. And they reminded me of other astral projectioners out there, you know, y'all, because they seemed to be my age and they felt like they were from the 20th century, you know. And they started saying the word home in their own language. And they told me to say the same thing in my language. And so we kept saying it and they said, keep your eyes closed. I said home, home. They were saying home in their own language. And I ended up materializing in my bed. I was just barely here. And so I had enough energy to move my foot to kind of just nudge my partner. And she was like, Ryan, you okay? Then I took a deep breath. I was like, finally, I'm here. And so you can get stuck in the astral plane, but it's very difficult. You have to be able to do things with your mind that a lot of people don't quite know how to do yet. And yeah, for the most part, you'll be stuck in your room for about a month, or maybe even 3 months, because it's very hard just to get outside of your bedroom door. Okay. And so don't worry about getting stuck in the astral plane. It's very uncommon unless you do something about it. Have you, wait, where'd that go? Wendy says, can you go to other planets via astral? Yes, you can. You can go anywhere. You can go to Saturn. You can go to the moon. You can go to Mars. I got a couple of videos on those two experiences, Mars and the moon. I think I went to the moon twice. You can go to a nebula, like a star, a crab nebula. You can go to another star system, Andromeda, which is right next to ours. Time and space can bend in different ways over there, so really you can go to anywhere in the galaxy, well, not just our galaxy, but the known universe. Imagine you can do it as simply as this. Imagine taking one step in your front door, taking one more step, and now you're at your back door. Okay? And whilst at your front door, you can see everything from your front door to your back door. It's just it's compressed. And then you kind of move and you can see the compression of space-time, and you just take one step and now you're at the back of your house. You can do that in space to get to another universe. To get to Saturn. It's much quicker, much quicker. So fun. Hey, says Edwin. Hey. We have 240 people watching. Thanks. Thank you for being here. Just reading your comments. Having a good time. We're live, baby. We're live. Have you ever seen fairies? You know, I wasn't very open-minded in the beginning of all of this spirituality. I wasn't. I wasn't introduced to meditation via a YouTube video. I wasn't. I was meditating for a couple of years without really realizing what I was actually doing. My meditation started with listening to music, and I was walking home from school. And as I got older, work, imagining music videos with people with superpowers just flying around and me included. And I would go into altered states, just getting very vivid with my imagination. I didn't look at it as meditation. You know, it wasn't until after astral projection that I started looking into meditation and other forms of altering your mind. I say all that to say that, yeah, again, I was very skeptical when it came to the things that you can experience in the astral plane, or let alone the world in general. You know, I had some type of feeling that aliens might be real. I guess Ancient Aliens did that for me, you know, the TV show. But later on, see you, LJ. But yeah, and so what ended up happening was, as I started leaving the body, bumping into different beings, slowly my skepticism, or at least my reservedness, started to disappear. Because I thought to myself, okay, if that thing is real, the odds are this next thing is real, you know? If gnomes are real, then I guess dragons are real. Was literally a phrase that I said at one point, because I went into my mom's room and I saw a gnome, literally blue t-shirt, the pointy red hat with the white beard, sitting on my mom's bed, and he just looked at me. It was so awkward, dead silent in the room. I took a few steps back and I laid back in my bed. I was like, maybe I should go back to my body. And then he actually climbed up my bed and then walked up to me and had a conversation with me. About a minute into the conversation, he said, isn't this weird how we're both from different dimensions and yet we're communicating as if it's normal? I'm like, yeah, that is kind of weird. And then this face came out of the wall that was covered in paint. It was like the paint on my wall started to melt as if it had just been painted. It came out right up to my face and I was like, okay, that's weird. Everything got really psychedelic. And then I left the room and I actually went into another plane of existence to explore. Oh my god, that's awesome, says Mi Young. Yeah. But yeah, that was the gnome or the yeah, I say gnome. That was the gnome experience. Fairies. Don't like fairies too much. They're really annoying. There's one time I astral projected and I ended up in the Fey realm by accident. Well, not the Fey realm, but there is a sub-dimension of the etheric plane, which is very close because the etheric plane can be split up. It's very close to the Fey dimension. When you go to the Fey dimension, they're all light. They are very shapeshiftable. They're very incredible. And as they transition into our realm, they have to take on the appearance of, well, a gnome, a fairy with wings, a leprechaun, stuff like that, because the dimension they're crossing over into is giving their spirit body a new form for them, for their consciousness to then experience whatever dimension they're traveling to. For example, if I go to a star system in the Milky Way, which looks like Skittles and energy, my consciousness has to create a new energy body to enter into that realm. And then I'll look like those beings over there. Fairies do the same thing. They cross over to the ethers and they take on a new body to experience the ethers. Okay. And this one particular experience ended up in the etheric plane next to the Fey dimension. And I'm not sure that I'm actually projecting at this point because I just feel like I've woken up. Many people call this a false awakening. They wake up, they have a shower, they get ready for work, all of a sudden they're back in bed again. They're actually in the etheric plane playing out their morning. And so I wake up in the etheric plane, I hear giggles and laughing, but it's like mild. And I go to use the bathroom. I can't believe I'm saying this on camera, but I'm using the bathroom, right? And this is when I realize I'm in the etheric plane because I start seeing eyes coming out of my mirror, like cartoon eyes. And most fairies take on this cartoonish appearance. It's not because they like cartoons, it's because they're two-dimensional for the most part when they cross over into the etheric plane to experience the etheric plane. And I start seeing energy moving like a snake around me, and these other beings, Fae, coming through, taking on a form. And the stream of urine disappears and shows up here and hits me in the face. And I hear a bunch of laughter. It's when I knew it was fairies. Fairies. So yeah, to answer your question, Mi Young, I've seen fairies. Don't really like them so much. I've had other experiences with fairies, and they're all quite mischievous. Have you ever communicated with an extraterrestrial? Yes, I have. In my previous videos, I've discussed experiencing, damn, they're really annoying. I've discussed experiencing extraterrestrials in the physical, like they actually came through into this reality, and I had an interaction with them. It's called, let me just get it up on the YouTube. It was a good one. Actually, I've been sitting on it for years. I didn't want to talk about it for a while because it's a touchy topic. I should probably start talking more about certain experiences. Like, there's a lot that's not on my YouTube channel. Like, so much. Okay. It wasn't long ago that I talked about my alien experiences. 5 months ago, I have 2 videos. Full disclosure, I used to work for the Galactic Federation of Light. Okay, that's out there now. It's all edited, it's nice and fancy, it looks cool. And then there's alien encounters, being a part of, you can probably guess as to what went down there. You're so lucky, I can only wish I have your experiences, says Mi Young. Oh, you can. One big tip for you 280 people watching, 275, 5 people aren't going to get this. Maybe they'll rewatch it, it's okay. Your ability to astral project is incumbent upon your own expectation of yourself as an astral projectioner. Okay. Sounds complicated. It's really not. What it means is you as a beginner have an expectation of yourself as a beginner. You might expect it to be difficult. You might expect yourself to go through the stages and then to get to the vibrational stage and then astral project. You might expect yourself to be stuck in your room for a long period of time or to see shadow beings or entities or to get stuck in the astral plane. Whatever your expectations are, you'll meet because every part of your subconscious mind, including your energy bodies, every atom in your in everything that you have is listening to you. It's listening to your expectations. And so when you say you can't do something over there, everything in you sits down, including your energy body, your astral body, your etheric body, and your catheric, your spiritual bodies. They're listening and they listen to you. If you expect that you are a Doctor Strange-like figure, that you can astral project and travel really fast through different dimensions, go through wormholes, this cool stuff, visit the Akashic records or friends and people who have passed on, if you expect that you have that level of caliber with astral projection, then you'll meet your expectations. You'll come out like that. Literally, I've done this in experiments. I've gone from being very good and secure with astral projection to thinking myself into a lesser state and then having lesser experiences, to then catching myself and thinking myself at a grander state and then having very cool experiences where I'm able to meditate and pick apart the astral plane. And so your perception of yourself is everything when it comes to your ability to astral project. That's huge. Don't let yourself, although you might be a beginner, don't let yourself talk yourself out of an experience based on what you think you can or cannot do based on your previous experiences. Or in short, act like an expert, you'll be an expert. Damn! You let those fairies R. Kelly you. Oh, Savage Goku. I liked your humor. I saw a question that kind of disappeared about dragons. Dragons took a lot to kind of believe in until I started seeing them. And then the experiences didn't stop there. They just kept going. Did Bush do 9/11? See, that's one of those things I want to figure out too. Like, I want to project through these events and actually see what happened, come back and tell you in like my own mini series. But I don't know, that might come. It might come. If you have any suggestions on where I should go for said mini series, leave it in the comments below. The comments of the video, not the chat, because they'll disappear. I won't be able to see them. I would like to hear about dragons, says Von C. Sure. So the first time I experienced the dragon, it wasn't a close-up encounter. It was in the sky. There's another astral dimension where things are large in the sky. I recently posted a picture of a face I saw outside of my window, right? You ever seen faces in clouds? Babies are often something that's often seen as well, along with hands. It's always specific things. Where in the astral plane, you can actually see a specific astral plane. You can see giants in the sky made out of clouds. This is one time I left my house in the astral plane. I walked up the street and I saw a woman in a dress dancing in circles around me in the sky, made out of clouds. And the clouds weren't obviously fluffy. They had more of a rigid structure to them because they were creating her anatomy. And so within the week, I'm sure, I astral projected again, went downstairs, looked outside of my living room window. I was about 18 at the time. And I saw literally a crack in the sky just burst open. And this serpent-like snake comes through, made out of kind of phantom, spectralness. It looked like a ghost, if a dragon was a ghost. You know, it was white, you could see through it, but you definitely knew something was there. And it flew circles around the area. And then this giant jellyfish type being came through. Again, another door cracked open in the sky. and the dragon ate it. And so I was watching these things come in and out of the reality, and I was like, yeah, I guess dragons are real, but still a little bit of skepticism. I was like, okay, those dragons are real, but the ones you see in movies aren't real. They can't be real, right? Fast forward about 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 24, 25. Fast forward about 7 years later, end up actually encountering the scaly type of dragons whilst on a San Pedro trip. Took way too much San Pedro. And I ended up having an experience with these types of beings, which kind of unnerved me a little bit because they're huge and the presence is massive, and it feels like being in front of a giant snake because they're very reptilian, very, very snake-like. And yeah, that's a very long-winded story. I might talk about it in the future, but let's get back to these comments. Yay, we got a super chat. Thank you for the donation, Priscilla G, 9.99, and it comes with a question. While meditating and attempting to astral project, I've experienced many instances of my sight turning into a complete blue indigo, whether or not my eyes are open. Any similar experiences or insights? I'm going to read that back again. That was strange. Ah, yeah, I see what you're doing there. So your third eye is like an onion in the sense that it has many layers. If you peel back the layers of your third eye, you get to see different shades of the reality that you're in. Okay? You can go into a black room. There's no such thing as a dark room in the astral plane, right? Go into a black room in the dark, in the astral plane, and with the knowingness that there's more to this than meets the eye, no pun intended, try to intentionally shift it into a different setting. You can go from seeing different entities in your space all of a sudden to seeing the atoms within the dimension in front of you, the dimensional space in front of you. You'll reveal a lot of things. And it sounds like what happened there is that your third eye shifted into a different setting and you ended up seeing different energies within the space, if not other realities that are those colors, because there is one that's indigo, an indigo reality. It's indigo, slightly blue in the sense that things have a hard edge to them that are blue. And if you go outside, the sky is pink. And the plant life there is alive. It sounds like you probably touched there, if not the third eye shifting. Let me know if the sound of this aircon is distracting. I turned it off because I'm going live, but it's getting really hot in here. Thank you for the super chat. For those of you who don't know, super chat questions go straight to the top, so I have to answer them. Whereas in the main chat, it goes and disappears. So it makes it much easier for me to see your questions if you use the super chat. Let's go back to the question box there to see if we can find anyone else's questions. Thank you for answering, Sis. You're welcome. Can you bring thing from the astral realm? Apparently you can. I've tried many a time. I've only been able to take things from one dimension to another dimension to another dimension, and in this dimension it just kind of disappears. Case in point, pen ink. So many times I've astral projected into the future or the past, and I've asked someone the date, and after asking them the date, I've written it down on my hands, expecting it to be here. No, I wake up, look at my hand, nothing is there. A couple of times I've tried getting or taking clothing because I saw this in Freddy Krueger, and I've tried to take clothing from the astral plane to this realm, and I could feel it in my hand, right? I'm here, I'm coming here, I can feel it in my hand, and all of a sudden it just slips away. I know it's possible, I just haven't quite figured it out yet. But if you do, let me know, because that'd be handy. You'd never go broke, you just you just materialize money in the astral plane, right? Not to put any ideas in people's heads, but maybe you're gonna be able to take something from another location in 3D and materialize it here in your location in 3D by way of astral projection. Just astral project out. Let's say you go to your house, grab hold of a jumper, materialize it back here. Maybe, I don't know, just guessing at this point. Have you made a Rasengan in the astral realm? A violently spiraling sphere of energy. I'm glad you mentioned what that was for those of you who haven't seen Naruto. A Rasengan is a violently spinning spiral of energy. No, I have not made a Rasengan in the astral realm. Here I have, though. I mean, you couldn't see it. It's more like Boruto's one where you can't see it, or Naruto's more advanced one. But you can feel it, and you can put it on people's hands, and they can feel it. Yeah. Did you research the Mayan calendar per our discussion? Says Narmendi. I did not yet. I've been swamped, but I'm getting to it. I have to get to it. Webinars, when can we expect the next few? I love the fact that you said that. Soon, very soon. I'm going to get around to putting them together, the process of signing up. That's a long, tedious process, and so I must admit I have been putting it off. But there are 4 webinars in the works. We have the astral projection webinar that's coming up next. We also have the Kundalini webinar, okay? And then, hey Jen, oh my God, I made it, you made it. After the Kundalini one, we have a numerology and dream interpretation webinar. That's a good one because it will teach you how to interpret numbers and what they mean for you, including learning the language of your subconscious mind by way of dream time. And we also have 4 webinars coming up. What's the other one? Kundalini, astral projection, dream interpretation, telepathy. I want to teach you all telepathy in the same way that I used it with Hannah, the young lady that came over from Vice. I pulled a memory out of her head. I want to teach you exactly how I did it. I want to teach you the steps that got me to that stage in development, and so that anyone can do it. That's my hope. That's coming soon. If you check out my website, ryancopper.com, keep checking on it. Eventually, I'll update the main bit of the website, and so you guys can just sign up and make sure you get your spots. Can anyone... Hey, thanks for the donation, says A's Imagination. Can anyone astro project? What are the requirements? I sometimes feel like I'm just not someone who can. Anyone there astral project? In the comment section below? Or in the comments? Yes, anyone can astral project. Anyone can astral project. The problem is the mind, or to put it bluntly, but I don't mean to offend anyone, you. I have come across a lot of people that mentally haven't been up to astral projection. They just can't quite stop themselves from stressing out, from seeing their attempts as failures, flat out failures, which is impossible. You can't have a flat out failure. There's always something that changes within your development, which gets you closer to astral projection. I've met some people that just mentally haven't been up to it, you know? You need to be a specific type of person psychologically to see it all as a process that's working for you. It doesn't mean you have to be that way straight out of the gate, you know? you can turn yourself like that, because I wasn't like that in the beginning. I was very much in my head, very dismissive. I doubted the process a lot. And I got very angry, very frustrated, and I got very stressed out in the beginning for months at a time. But through persistence, I realized what I was doing wrong. And I ended up changing my thinking toward astral projection, the process. And then a lot of my results came in, a lot of them. And so anyone can do it, but it takes a lot for a person to change how they think. And the requirements are just try, just practice. As long as you're practicing, you're getting somewhere. Make sure you have perfect practice. You know, a lot of people say that practice makes perfect, but honestly, that's not entirely true, because you can practice the wrong thing over and over and over again and get nowhere. If you practice the right things, however, you're going to get somewhere. And so perfect practice means, for astral projection, that you approach astral projection as its own thing. Okay? Don't look at it as being awake or being asleep. If you practice under those perceptions, you'll only ever encourage those two states of being awake and waiting for a long period of time, or falling asleep and then waking up kicking yourself, you know. So don't look at it as anything close to and or are related to being awake or being asleep. Just throw that to one side and look at it as its own state of being. It's huge. Because now what that then implies is, under specific circumstances, you can still astral project. Meaning, if there's a lot of noise outside your room, you can still astral project. If you think that you can't, it's because you're comparing it to sleep, right? There's actually no limits to astral projection. You can do it whenever, wherever you are. You just gotta believe that you can. And the reason for this is because if you believe that you can, then you'll loosen up to the process and you'll let yourself do it. If you don't believe that you can, you'll get all fussy, you'll get irritable, you'll be like, oh, why is this happening? I'm not gonna be able to do it, because you don't believe you can. You're not surrendering. You're actually moving into a direction which stops you from experiencing an astral projection. And so it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. As a matter of fact, it's exactly like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're scared you can't do it in that mind frame, says this profile does not exist. There's a little bit of wiggle room there. If you're a little bit scared, you can. If you're terrified, it ain't gonna happen. Also, when you try to astral project, this chakra here can open up, what they call it, the solar plexus. And where that opens up, the energy there can feel very much like excitement and or fear. And so a lot of the time people can get confused. They can be like, you know, why am I freaking out? I'm not afraid, yet my body's freaking out. It's actually just an expression of that chakra. If you just sit there, it will actually go over a little lump like this. It's kind of like there's a little cliff here. It'll go over and up and out of your head, and you will end up experiencing an astral projection by projecting out of your scalp. Hey, thank you for the donation. Let's look at this question. Are sigils or tantra unsafe? Do demiurge eat the urge? I can't get the last bit that you said, but I got the first bit. I think it just split up strangely in the comments. Are sigils or tantra unsafe? Tantra, I think it's unsafe. I think if the wrong mind goes into the tantra, it's unsafe. Sigils, depending on how you use them, will determine whether or not they're unsafe. If you end up learning sigils by way of some type of teacher, usually the dimensional teachers are the best for sigils because they really teach you the right ones. Yeah, if you're getting them from a good teacher and they say it's gonna be all dandy, you know, you're gonna go through some really cool experiences, you might even astral project, or go into another realm, if you do this sigil, then trust it. It's safe. But if you're getting sigils or markings from some other entity that's negative, then expect something, well, you'll be right in assuming that something could go wrong there. Like there's some entities telling you to write a sigil out on your floor at a specific time in the day, and that your house had to have windows facing east, west, south, and north. Yeah, probably wouldn't listen to them. Shaded Deadstein. Thanks for the donation, $5. You're awesome. Comes with a question. Hi Ryan, this may be a hard question. Ooh. What's the difference between you and Buddha? Or Christ? Or between Buddha and Christ? New episode on that subject, question mark. They're actually, if you get right down to it, there is no difference between you and me and other spiritual heads. Okay? Literally, because if you open, I call it the Silver City, through sigils actually, in the astral plane, you can open the sky and see the Silver City, otherwise known as heaven, and you will see the heads of these masters, spiritual heads, literally, and they can teach you things. The only difference is awareness. How aware of you of your capability, because really we're all Buddhas walking around. Some people are doing a brilliant job and they're fooling themselves. But ultimately we all have the same potential. We're already there. It's just some people are aware of it and some people aren't. Okay? And so there isn't, technically there is a difference. If you look at it that way, it's your awareness is the difference. But at the same time, there isn't. You are all the same thing. There comes a point in your awakening where you become aware of this. It's very weird, and it can happen more than once. You leave your house. Usually it happens when you're frustrated with the world or you're frustrated with people. You leave the house and you notice that everyone is doing a very good job at playing human. They're doing it so well, they've forgotten that they are God. An awakened being or an enlightened being is essentially someone that has become aware of this fact and that is living in this state all of the time, and yet at the same time they are also operating a character, because they have to. You can't be God and be here without operating a character, otherwise you just wouldn't really exist. You have to use an ego or a form of expression to interact with these other versions of yourself. That's why egos exist in the first place. They're basically sims or avatars for the divine to spark through and communicate with itself. It's just sometimes people believe that they are their avatar to a unconscious extent, and then they forget the divinity and they become detached from the divinity. Most of the time, the divinity, their highest, the divinity, their, I don't want to say higher self, but their true selves becomes kind of cut off. As you grow up, you'll hear it. It's that voice in your head or in your heart. It's that angel on your shoulder. It's that voice of reason. That's you in all reality. That's actually you. But when you've become completely convinced that you are your character, your ego, you become fractured, you split in half, and you bury that divine aspect of yourself. And so what you can do is, as you listen to it and as you start making choices out of it, it flips. And now what happens is you are that voice of reason, and the ego or the character becomes a shadow self. It becomes a personality that's kind of in front of you that you can sense and that you're aware of. And then there's a third stage where you dissolve that ego completely. Because at that point, when you flip around and you become your divine self, that divinity in you, you've just traded places. Like your main focal point of awareness is just traded places, and now you're identifying and really feeling like your higher self or your divine self. That ego construct needs to realize that it doesn't actually exist. When that happens, and you can, if you want more information on that, check out the ego illusion on my YouTube channel. When that happens, when the ego realizes that it doesn't actually exist, it then realizes that it too is an aspect of God that has fallen unconscious, that has believed that it is an actual character. And it will realize this because it realizes that it's just behaving. It's taking information from other people, other behaviors, by just observing, and it's copying. And as as that happens, it copies and expresses a perceived character, but really it's just expressing a behavior. It's expressing content, information. And when that aspect of source realizes what it's doing, then it merges with your divine aspect, like who you actually are, and you just become divinity expressing behaviors or expressing information. Wow. You can stay that way for years. Very long period of time. Once you realize it, it shifts everything inside you, and you look like that for a long period of time. It's hard to shift back out of that. I hope a lot of you understood that. Let me know if you did, because that's huge right there. Woo! Thank you for that super chat. That was cool. I enjoyed that one. But we got another one. $2. Thank you. Let's look at this question. Do entities eat energy through symbols, sigils like? Yeah, they can. Ooh, they can. They can. If you place a specific amount of importance on something that you own, you're going to charge that thing up with some energy. It could be endearing energy. Maybe a lover gave it to you, or a family member gave it to you, and so there's a lot of love in there. Being can come across and feed off of that. They won't be able to take all of it out, but they can feed off of it for a time. When you write or draw, you're putting energy into your sigils and or drawings, and so that tends to attract things as well. A lot of you might have seen the blue lady that I painted before we came over to where we're living now. When I was in the UK, I painted a blue lady, and I did it all out of my subconscious mind. And so what ended up happening was about 6 months in, I realized that I was channeling specific female figures within my past, people that I had connections to. I was channeling their energy into this person that had resemblances of all of them. She resembled all of them. I then had to burn it. Not to be dramatic, it's just when you put that much energy, when you channel other people's consciousnesses into a fixed point, you now are cementing their energy into that painting. And so they can't change in reality because you're anchoring their level of consciousness in a portrait. And so in a way, you're kind of casting a spell, or you're keeping them anchored to a way of thinking that you remember and that you're putting into a painting or a sigil or a letter. You have to get rid of that, otherwise they can't grow. It doesn't matter where they are, even if they go into the afterlife, they can't grow because you're keeping them grounded into a certain mental frame of mind. And so I destroyed it. Yes. Thank you for being here. 311. This is a lot of people in this live stream. What time is it by you? Yeah, a lot of times people are asleep. I guess the hours moving back has helped out quite a lot. A lot of you are still awake. In Bali, the time doesn't change. It always stays the same all year round. Let's look at some of these questions. If I make music, is it the same thing? Yes, it is. Says Tiamo Tiki. Did you visit Agartha? I haven't visited Agartha. 10:50 p.m. by you? Oh, cool. So for an adult, that's not that late. Late for adults is like 1 in the morning. 9:49. Houston. Ah, so you got some time to really chill out. That's awesome. You probably fit in a movie. Cool. Speaking of which, his Dark Materials season 2 started yesterday, BBC One. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a TV show. Okay, it's a TV show which involves other realities. And it's basically a parallel reality where things are slightly different. For example, there it's normal to have what's known as a demon, which is a companion. They don't look at demons as bad, but it's just like it's an animal and it's tied to them by their soul. And that's just one reality and it's just normal. And the whole thing is they move into other realities. They literally go through cracks in time and space. There are certain places on the earth where they can travel through other dimensions to other parallel versions of their reality. And our reality is one of the parallel dimensions. And so last season kicked off with them finding a city in the sky, and they opened a portal and they went there. It's amazing graphics. It's brilliant. I wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't great. Really check it out. Okay, Mohammed Adam, thank you for the donation. $6.99. You're great. What did you tell yourself in the beginning times to calm yourself down from freaking out or making excuses to not follow through? So you're talking about astral projection. So this is what I said. Whenever I was freaking out, I said to myself, okay, there's no point in freaking out now because it's not going to happen. The very fact that I've been freaked, my mouth has stopped working. The very fact that I freaked out, it's prevented me from leaving my body. And so, where was I? Let's go a little distracted. What's that? I'm then under the belief that I'm not going anywhere. So what's the point in freaking out, right? And so, but still, I'm going to lay there just in case something happens. That got me through so much. It became like a mantra. 200K? 200K? I don't have 200K for it. I wish. It's coming. It's coming soon. But that's what I would do to calm myself down, you know? And so let's just go over that again. Someone's coming.
They're talking about Daddy and Jules.
Mommy and Jules. Where's Mel? Hello, Phil.
Say hi.
Say hi, Phil.
Okay. Oh, they can see her.
Oh, I can see her.
Say hi, Theo.
Oh,
Say hi.
Metro.
Say bye, Daddy. Daddy's working. Say bye.
You want to see everyone?
You want to say hi?
You can check. We can see her. Oh. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. She looks so big.
She's big. Ew, look.
Humans.
Okay. You want Daddy juice? Somebody snuck in here.
Oh,
Sophie.
cat.
Come on. Bye, Daddy. Bye-bye. We love you. Come on, Sophie. Staying with Dad.
She's gonna be astral projecting in no time, if she hasn't already. Okay, yeah. That's what I did to stop myself from coming down. That's to stop myself from freaking out. This profile does not exist. Thank you! Ryan, what can you tell us about the Akashic Records? Also, my name is Ryan too, just throwing that out there. And I've been subbed since like 200K or something. Love the channel, man. You've been subbed since the future. 200K is 200,000. I'm at 193,000 right now. But I get it. I think you mean 20,000, right? Maybe even just 200. That'd be amazing. Wow, you've been around for a while. Thank you. Yeah. So let me just read that again. I got to just read. Ryan, what can you tell us about the Akashic Records? So the Akashic Records isn't a library. Okay. It's not a library. It's being described that way so that people can comprehend it. Because a lot of people haven't been able to comprehend certain spiritual concepts that are outside of our reality. Okay, but if you just word it right, you can get it. And so think of it like this. Around you, there are a whole bunch of radio waves that we can't see. That's actually proven, right? Well, around you is a bunch of dimensions that you can't see. You can see this one because you're tuned into it. You can hear noise because your ears are built to hear the noise. You can tune into it. But there are certain decibels that you can't hear. There are certain things that you can't see because your eyes can't see that spectrum of light. But animals can see it. There's a cat right here on the floor. She can see it. Okay, so these things still exist even if you can't see it. It's the same thing for thoughts outside of the body. It's the same thing for ideas. It's the same thing for intentions. Okay, everyone's just leaking all over the place and you can't see it, but you can feel it sometimes if you're extrasensory, if you can perceive all of this stuff. And so the same thing comes for, well, this is where it gets kind of complicated. The same thing applies to probability. Your reality plays out in the ethers first before it plays out here. Probable realities play out first before they play out here or before you decide to choose a path. And so with all of this being said, information is very much everywhere, and you are a channel. A lot of things are channels, actually. Pretty much everything that's alive, even plants, are channels for information, including beings. And so, I mean, you occupy the body for the most part, but things go through you for a reason. And the information you can channel through you too, if you'd like. And that's when you tap into the Akasha, which means ether, and you pull up those records. Okay? Because if someone yelled at someone 200 years ago in a heated argument, that energy still exists. You can channel it in. And if you channel it in, you can see what that person saw, you can feel what they felt, you can figure out why they were yelling at each other, you know? And so the Akashic records, it's not a physical library. There have been constructs made in the ether to try to get you in touch with information like this, you know? Because sometimes, you know, if you can imagine a library, if you just go into the astral plane, you imagine yourself a bookshelf, and you imagine that book being connected to all the information in the universe, that book becomes a vehicle for said information. But you can just do it by yourself. Okay, so that's what the Akashic records are. If you want a longer explanation of that, I have a video on that on my YouTube channel. Super chats. Don't worry, I can find your super chat, Tasha. I can find it. It's here somewhere. Here we go, Tasha. $5. Thank you. So people can't choose to disconnect from your painting even if they are aware. Yeah, they can't do it. They cannot do it. Not unless they took a whole bunch of psychedelics and had help. Probably not gonna happen anytime soon. It's really hard. I mean, nah, you have to burn it. You have to burn it. Burn it. Kill it with fire. Aylin Robinson, thank you for the donation. Let's look at your question, 489. You're awesome. Do you believe someone can be Jesus, Christ reincarnated? If so, can you explain? Jesus is a tricky one. He likes to hop in and out of so many different people. Reincarnated, it is hard to see that as as a absolute possibility. For example, you right now aren't the only you in your body. You're actually scattered throughout different realities. There are different parts of your consciousness that exist around you that are doing things independent from you. It's a part of you, you know? If you start astral projecting and start traveling, these parts of you can start entering other people's dreams and having conversations with them. Your mind just basically becomes scattered throughout time and space. I believe this very similar thing has happened with Jesus. I think a large portion of his accumulative mind has ended up channeling through people and this is why I believe it's kind of hard to imagine him fully reincarnating because there will always be a part of him that's somewhere else. The main part of him, however, incarnating as a person, yeah, I could, again, it's hard to see it being a thing that happens anytime soon, but I wouldn't rule it out completely, you know? How much time have we been live for? 328. You guys are coming in strong and you're sticking around too. Glad to see it. Glad to see it. So cute. Ah! So wholesome. Ah, too cute. I'm gonna cry. So adorable. Yeah, I'm going to the point where you guys saw Theo. So precious. Oh my goodness, adorable. Oh man. Too cute. Oh. Oh my god. This is Jason Boss. Cute. He's 4 months now. 4 months. Oh, it's turmeric. Like, it doesn't just taste like orange juice. Charizard! This is Ashley Jones. Theo! This is Kyra. So cute. Should I be sleeping? The time here is 5:55 a.m. That's morning. You should be doing your practices. 5:55 is a great time to do meditations because they carry on straight throughout the day. Sun isn't up yet, right? But it's still kind of gray outside. Best time to meditate. Best time. Always best time. Mainly because you're absolutely private. Okay? All of the night creatures are going to sleep. And all of the day creatures, well, going to sleep and or are in the process of sleeping now because they've gone to sleep. And all the day creatures haven't woken up yet. So everything is sleeping. No distractions. Everything is sleeping. And even the planets are pretty much gone. Okay, so everything is, that is the perfect time to meditate, to bring out energies within you, to even invoke energies into your space, because nothing else is making a noise. No energies are disturbing your space neither. And so the energy in the room and even outside is completely clear. It's not polluted. It's brilliant. Feline taking over the world. Just making sure I got everyone's questions. Okay. Thank you for the donation. That's what happened. Practices for staying grounded while the unconscious in your area is agitated. Thanks for your work and our past interviews. Keep it up. Blessings. Who is this person? Past interviews. I need to look over here. This is where the camera is. Yeah, staying grounded. Practices for staying grounded. Freezing cold showers. Jump in the shower. Whenever you find yourself becoming ungrounded because of the hostile space around you, freezing cold shower will knock you back into alignment. It will slap you in the face and get you nice and... Another one is exercise. Holy crap. Running outside in fresh air will do it for you too. It will get you back to normal, get you in the body, which is important for being grounded. You want to be able to feel everything that's happening so that you get less in here and more out here. You know? I might swing back to that. I just need to get other people's super chats before they disappear. Hayden Griffin, just give me a super chat. Thank you, appreciate it. Spiritual Gardens, $4.99. Awesome! Do animals see the astral realm, spirit realm? My cat always see something I can't also. Can you astral project and interact with me, pet animal? Yes, you can. You can astral project and interact with your animal. I've done it with my dog. And then when I came back, I was like, oh, I got to go see him to see if he's in the exact same position he was in when I astral projected. You know, because I left my body, went downstairs, and he was in the kitchen, in the corner of the kitchen, and I watched him slide out of his body. And he was like, and then I petted him, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So when I came back to my body, I ran downstairs to the same area in the kitchen. And he had just came back. He was like, the exact same position he was in that I saw him in, to the nearest head tilt to the paw being like this, exactly the same. That's how I saw him when I came out of body, and that's how I saw him when I came back. So you can definitely meet animals. And animals do see into the astral realm, especially cats. We're about to have 2 cats in here. One moment. I have to let him in, otherwise he just keeps going and going and going. This little guy, he's called Salem. He named him after the Salem witch trials, and right now he's cleaning his sister. I was gonna say kissing his sister, but that wouldn't sound very. But I said it now, so yeah. So okay, Niwa, 5 to 5. Your question is. Wait, oh my God, this is probably why I saw you alive. So what can we do? You look familiar. Have I met you? So what can we do to at least distance ourselves from paintings or drawings of us if their intention and energies are negative or of malice? Very good one. You can paint another painting, you know? Ryan gang, let's go. That's a big gang, 312 people. All astral projecting at the same time. Osiris taught 300 people how to astral project. He assured them immortality, which for him and for a lot of people is, I also see it this way, a form of immortality is to maintain your awareness while you're outside of the body, maintain your consciousness and your memory. That way you never die. The memory of you never dies. So back to your question. What you can do is paint a painting of you in a box. Draw a drawing of you in a box. You know, put intentional energy in there, which will negate their energies in their paintings. You can imagine their paintings being turned upside down or turned over, you know, or draw their paintings being turned over, and then you having a box around you. This, for the very fact that you're putting your intention into it, is creating a mental block that will block their mental thoughts from getting to you. Because when you paint something to curse someone, or you do a sigil to curse someone, you're intentionally doing like the stink eye, but mentally, while you're picturing them and you're painting them, you're projecting negative thoughts. All it is negative thoughts, okay, coming your way, and the painting puts that energy in there, and kind of just grounds it, and then you've got this negative thing that's just spewing out negative thoughts directed to you. And so in the same way that if you were in a conversation with someone and they were having a negative thought towards you, and you just block them out with your positive thoughts, or with your just I don't care thoughts, you can put the I don't care thoughts in a drawing. And if you just get rid of the idea of all the thoughts being in your mind, or her or his mind, one big brain just thinking, now you're putting up a barrier of thoughts, which will prevent their thoughts from getting to you. It's kind of like having, if you look at it like this, like microcosm, imagine having a part of your mind that's constantly negative, trying to talk you out of something, and you just put up a wall. Okay? That's what it's like. Oh, they're coming in. So what can we do? That was your one. Which one's next? Super chat. Hayden Griffin again. I brought your AP course and finally had an astral projection experience. Thank you. By the way, what's happening on December 21st? I asked you this on Instagram. Laugh my ass off. First off, congratulations for astral projection. And yes, I have an astral projection mastery course. The videos in that course cannot be found on YouTube. Okay? It's over on ryancropper.com. I'm so happy that you did that. I get so excited. Cool. And anyone who's new to my website gets it at a discounted price. Of course, it's a course. It's like a school, and so it would help me out. Whoa, what is happening to my? Uh-oh. No. Dang it. I had you guys on an AA stabilizer, and the stabilizer just died. Let me see if I can charge it at the same time. This is not convenient. I was thinking of talking about 21st of December in a video, so the camera is astral projecting. So I might wait until then. Okay. Okay, do I have time? Where's the super chat set? There we go. A gift for the baby from Ryan to Ryan. Good to see you live. Hey, thanks, Ryan. Have I met you? You look very familiar. Very familiar. My ex used to put spells on people using their photo to make them do things. Is that a thing? How strong is it? It is a thing. It's only as strong as the user, and so probably really strong, probably not. Paintings are way more stronger because you're having to sit there for months at a time, putting your energy into it. Photos, he's probably lost it. He probably put his attention off of it at this point, and so the energy kind of dips as well. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about photos. Love your channel. Thank you for the donation. Thank you, Ryan, and thank you, Tasha, and thank you, JC Caruso. $10, you're awesome. Thank you. I'm gonna put my phone down in a second and find a way to hold this thing up. Love your channel. Thanks for getting me started with astral projection. Don't have a question. I just wanted to support the amazing work you do for everyone, sending you good energy your way. And the on sign. Thank you. Okay, 1 second. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna plug in my stabilizer and hope that it works at the same time. In the meantime, I don't really have anything for you guys to look at. Maybe Sophie. Sophie the cat. Who's just walking away. Maybe. Alright. Charger. Type-C charger. Type-C is on the bed. Oh, you no. Ooh, she almost ended the live stream. Look at her just looking at her. What did I do wrong? What is heaven like? How many are there? There's quite a few heavens. They're all different based on what you're doing there. The heavens are more like schools than anything else, where you can learn certain things. One moment. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Wah! I got it working. Got it working. I'm gonna have to scroll up to see you guys' super chats before I go. There we go. Try to stop me? Don't think so. There we go. Awesome. Let's make sure this is all set up properly. Okay. Let's scroll all the way up to the top and find you guys' super chat. Calm yourself down. We did that one. Mike donated. Thank you, Mike, for donation. It's just donation, no question. Akasha Records, done that one. Tasha, message retracted. You ever see that on Facebook or Skype? You know they sent you a message because it says message deleted, or on WhatsApp. And then you think, what did they do? Is it just me? Or when you do that, do they then do the same thing? Like, oh, I'm gonna get you back. I'm overthinking it. As good as you get. Do you do you believe it's Jesus one? Done that one. Um, Staying grounded practices. Done that one. Photo. Done that one. Is that it? Nah, there were more super chats than that, eh? Where'd they go? Where did they go? Oh, here's one. ETA for the Telepathy and Kundalini course. Thank you for the donation. 189 mark. ETA. Honestly, which one? Telepathy and Kundalini? You're looking at maybe a month? Here's the plan. After my next video that I post, I want to start bringing in people to teach them these things throughout the webinars. And so I'm going to give people about 3 weeks to sign up. It's a long time. Usually it's only like a couple of weeks. But 3 weeks, to probably even a month. And then what I'm going to do is every next week, every following week, there will be a new webinar. So it'll be like every Wednesday for 4 weeks. Okay? So it'll be like a month. Yeah. Still got to figure that out. You'll know within the time that I post the next video. I'll let everyone know what's happening there. Kitty go to Zoom? Kitty just went Zoom. Kitty's destroying the couch. What else we got here? $10 donation by Ali Berry. Thank you very much. All these donations are really appreciated. Especially nowadays. I'm going to remove these 2 cats from my room before I answer your question. When we travel to the astral plane, are we shown what we need to see? Like visiting Oracle in the Matrix. You've spoken of multiple Earth shapes. My friend sees a flat, doomed Earth. Thank you, hugs. Come on, let's go. Troublemaker. See. Don't use it. Yeah, man. Yes, sometimes. Sometimes beings will make you, matter of fact, most times, beings will make you astral project to show you something, especially if you're trying. If beings in other dimensions know that you have the capability to astral project, they will pull you out to give you a message. Sometimes it has to do with the Earth. Sometimes it has to do with people on the Earth and how we're either screwing things up or how we're not quite mature enough and but yeah, sometimes you're shown what you need to see. It can spark a huge reaction, especially if you get in front of the right person. You know, if someone astral projects in front of the right person, like if an alien astral projected to go see Joe Rogan and said, say this to people on Earth, he's gonna be able to do that easily, right? And they know that. Finding an oracle type figure in the astral plane though is kind of difficult because a lot of beings think that they are that they have all the information in the universe, and it's hard to find a being out there that doesn't have a significant amount of pride. And so there are oracle types, but an oracle type that has no pride, and pride is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Like if your pride is so loud to the point where you're not listening to the other person, or you're being condescending, or you're being, what's the other word for it? Patronizing, then you've now taken that conversation to a whole different direction, you know, where that person isn't gonna be able to say certain things because you're too busy doing all of this stuff over here. And so those beings do that, and it's very frustrating sometimes, but you kind of get numb to it after a while, and then you just move on. Another donation from Niwa. Thank you. Says, how can we get out of our own head when we feel lost and don't know the direction to take? Is it out of fear? How do we overcome this? How we balance? Okay. So how can we get out of our own head when we feel lost? How can we get out of our own head when we feel lost? It depends on you're feeling lost. Like, why are you feeling lost? You know, is it because you have no direction? Sometimes people don't have a direction in life, and so they can feel like they don't have a place in life. They kind of feel useless. You know, they don't know what to do with themselves. Like, how are they going to contribute to society or to the world? You know? And so then they can get into their head and feel lost. If that's the case, you boost your self-esteem. You get clear on things that you can bring towards another person, whether it be a piece of advice, whether it be you helping the world or something. Okay. You basically need to sit there and get very clear on what you have to offer. And then find a way to do it. Whichever way that you like, just do it. Okay? You don't know which direction to take. Yeah. That would be it. Is it out of fear? It is. When you stress out, your mind goes into a state where it tries to figure out the problem that's causing the stress. And so then you start to panic and you start to get stuck, and then you go into your head and you start to overthink. It's best not to go against that process. Actually lean into it. Sit there and give yourself time to think through what it is that you're thinking. Try to come up with some type of rationalizing, coherent thought process that will allow you to then take action and feel calm in doing so, you know. Yeah. Book recommendations is That's What Happened. Thank you for the donation. You're awesome! Book recommendations. I have a few books. Let me just get out my where should I show them? I'll use my phone. I can't use my phone. You're using my phone. I have to use my Kindle. Book recommendations. These are very good books. The first one is actually, where are you? This one's good for Taoism, especially if you're into immortality. It's basically purification rituals which have you skip a whole bunch of steps in other people's processes when it comes to living for a very long period of time. In short, it's very easy to live a very long time. And so this book is for you all. I also have some other books which are just amazing reads. Let me just get it up for a sec. Books. Actually, yeah, there's quite a few books actually. Yeah. Where are my books? There we go. So this one's the one I just talked about now. It's called Taoist Meditation. Taoist. Taoist Meditation. The Mao Shan Tradition of Great Purity. Okay. Mao Shan, M-A-O. One of these ones. S-H-A-N. Tradition of Great Purity. Okay, so I'll say it again. Taoist Meditation, the Mao Shan Tradition of Great Purity. It's a brilliant book. And that's by Isabel Robinette. Some other great books. One by Israeli Regardi, The Golden Dawn. That's a good one. Deals with astrological magic. So basically doing rituals which help negate the energetical effects from astrology, you know, which I guess everyone could benefit from. Very cool. It's not magic. They make it a point to say that it's not magic like pagan magic, in the sense that, you know, earth magic, where you deal with the elements, or something. It's more astrological. They make it a point to say that it's different. Other books, Joe Dispenza, Joe Spencer has a few good books under his belt. You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter, Becoming Supernatural, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And then there's also another book that I really like called, dang, what was it called? That was it. Breaking the Death Habit by Leonard Orr. Amazing. Read all of them. Fast reads. You can also get them on Audible, so you can just like listen to everything. Okay. You got another super chat? Awesome. Let me just fix this camera a little bit. It's kind of weird, huh? Bring it down a little bit. Let's go show over to the middle. Matt Hollingsworth says, thank you for the donation, by the way, Matt. $5. Ryan, I see these beings every night before I go to bed. They are made of energy. I was wondering what they are. I usually only see them for a second. What color are they? If they're black and small, then they're what I call astral insects or astral critters. They run around a lot in the astral plane. They kind of scutter around, and you'll find them underneath your bed covers that are moving around. You might want to try to grab hold of them, like whack-a-mole, or hit them. But they're basically they're insects. They don't look like insects. They're just forms of life over there in the etheric plane, which is where you'd most likely see them. And they tend to feed on energy. And so if you're seeing things like that in the astral plane, clean your room, open all the doors, all the blinds, all the windows, and don't go in there for the whole day. Just leave the house or stay downstairs. It'll clear up everything. An astral ghost says this profile don't exist. Oh, this one's a good one. Am I the only person in existence and just creating everything in existence myself, including this video? Thank you. Super chat above, by the way, Brian. Bryce, let me find that one. Ah, I see it. 299. Thank you. Appreciate it. Are you everything in existence? You are. This is where it gets kind of horrible for most people. But you are. And the weird thing is it doesn't mean that no one else exists, because the crazy thing is from their perspective, if they take a psychedelic or enter into the same headspace you're in, they would be perceiving reality from the same standpoint as you. Be that they're the only ones in existence and you're a figment of its imagination. Because you're all simultaneously just as, well, my brain just broke, you're all the same thing. You just kind of look at it, it's weird, but yes. Yes. $5 from Ray Krukow. No question to it. Just a donation. Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys are awesome. What else we got here? I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something? Did any of you do a super chat and it just vanished? Maybe when the cats were going crazy or when the stand died? Mike says, thank you for the donation, 199. So if we don't learn AP, we'll forget upon death. I'm not gonna say yes as if it's a definite. I'm not gonna speak in definitives, you know? I'm not gonna say yes. However, the majority of people who have died before learning how to maintain their level of consciousness after death have experienced a death of the mind, their character. They haven't been able to remember who they were. And I've met people like that too in the astral plane. I tell them what's happened, they're just blank. Yeah. When you're like that, you're so can get subject to reincarnation cycles. You can get used for other things. You basically end up wandering around at the whim of anything around you, good or bad. Most of the time, though, you're looked after, so someone will intervene even if someone does get you and kind of messes with you for a while, you know, and bullies you in the astral plane. Big Brother will show up, spirit guides, and get you out of the situation. But I advise everyone to learn how to keep their awareness intact, their consciousness, after death, transitioning out of the body. Because then you're it, you're done, you're good. Mission accomplished. Rampage, thank you for the donation. Your question is, I see a lot of white orbs. Are these souls of my family members? It depends. I wouldn't be amiss in saying that they could be of your family members. It's best to really astral project when you see these orbs. Like if you're seeing them around your room, lay down, leave your body, look at that orb, and will it into existence. You'll help bring it through, and it will show up as a person. Then you know who it is. But make sure they are orbs, you know? Are they big? Are they moving around? Are they slightly blue? Do they behave in very weird ways? And if they're not orbs, then they probably look like specks of shining light, like little stars. What that is anyone can do this. Lay down outside on a bright day, very sunny, and look up at the blue sky. Look up for a long enough period of time for all that light to hit your retina. What happens is the light bounces around in your optic nerve, and you'll start to see stars. You'll know it's going on in here, and it's not actually a real thing in front of you, because when you move your head, the stars also move. It's the same thing with hallucinations. If you want to figure out if it's actually in front of you, the ghost or the entity or whatever you're seeing, move your head, and if it stays where it is, it's real. If it moves with you, it's all in here. Kyra, $5, thank you. Says, can you to anywhere on command in the astral plane? Yes. For example, my friend just got arrested. Could I visit him in jail? How long does it take? You could visit him in jail. A lot of places have jails. Okay, so I would say be careful. You're basically astral projecting into an area where a lot of people are energetically dense, and you might end up seeing a whole bunch of things. I would say don't even try. Probably try materializing him into your space, which is, I wouldn't even normally say that, but person is really that energetically dense that I'd rather you do it in your home and get him to come to you. You can do it. How long does it take? It takes a while, because it's not easy to figure out how to do that in the astral plane. Earlier, I talked about interfacing with the astral plane and having it do everything for you. Your best bet would probably be doing that. Be in the astral plane, try to sense the intelligence behind it, and then ask it to bring him to you. And then wait for it to happen. You don't try to do anything, just wait and be patient. Sometimes you might end up in a dead dimension, meaning the dimension is just, it's not active. Sometimes you'll end up in one that is active. Okay? If you're in one that isn't active, just go back to your body and astral project again. You do have a relatively large period of time there to keep astral projecting. I call it bouncing, where you just go back to the body and bounce back out, go back and bounce back out. And so bounce back out to an active dimension. Okay, any more super chats? M says, can it be dangerous if you go too low in the AP? It's dangerous to your energy bodies. Things over there like to absorb your energy and torment you through triggering your triggers. They like to bring up insecurities in you. If you work, this is why a lot of the videos on my YouTube channel are self-help videos, because if you work on yourself enough, then you become quite displeasing to these lower vibrational beings. If you end up in their space, they don't like you anymore because you're too good, you're too happy. and it's kind of like you become poison to them, so they run. And so, yeah, I mean, it can be dangerous if you're not mentally stable, because then you're going to attract things to you that like to feed off of unstable people. And the worst thing that can happen to you, especially if you're new, is, and this isn't considering another thing, I'll talk about another thing in a second that I wanted to get to for a while about the astral body becoming like the physical body. The bodies actually merge. It only happens when you take a long period of time with all of this, when you start projecting for years. But if you're new to astral projecting, the worst thing that can happen is you get drained energetically and then you black out and then you wake up super tired. Okay? Now, back on what I was just talking about. 24 years into astral projecting, my physical body started to become like my astral body. And as of a result, I started waking up and my body was levitating in the air. Certain parts would be levitating. It got really weird. And when I was out of body, I jumped out of my bed and I hit my head on the door frame, my astral head. Weird thing was that I felt it in my physical body as if I had actually headbutted the door frame. I felt the entire angle on my face. Okay. And so I was getting to a point with astral projection whereby if something happened to me with my astral body, I would feel it with my physical body. It wasn't like that before. But that's only because of my consecutive astral projection attempts. I just, yeah. I call it astral puberty. Ray Cockrell, $5. Thank you. If you'd like to, you can ask questions underneath your donations as well. I'll be able to see them. They are very predominant on the screen. Let's check it out. $1. Thank you. Here's one. Elise says $2 donation. Thank you. Her question is ringing in my ears. What does it mean spiritually? So when you hear ringing in your ears, what that is that your brain is assimilating and organizing different beta and theta and alpha brainwave states. You're basically hearing the activity of your subconscious mind, especially from, let's say, the moment you're born up until 25, your brain is developing, and so you're going to hear all this activity happen. Most of the time, that's cool, analogy. Most of the time, when this activity is happening, you can develop extrasensory perceptions, where you start to experience the astral plane, you start to hear voices and stuff like that. It's because your brain waves are starting to merge. You're going from alpha to theta, or you're just waking up in theta, or it's mixing everything up. Eventually it sets, and then it just stops happening. Sheila, thank you, Sheila. Sheila got a croupet. Do you want to see a croupet? I'll show you my croupet. I'm like stoked about it. I got one made for her. My mouth is not working. It's been an hour and 49 minutes. Can you give me a personal reading over live, says Zach. If I do it for you, everyone's gonna want one. One of those things. I'll think about it. It's taking me ages to drink this, right? It's so small. It's been like an hour. So the energy you build up when you try to astral project is keeping you fully awake. Is any part of you thinking that you have to stay aware the entire time? A large part of the process is allowing the energies the vibe that you're feeling into when it comes to your attempts to manipulate your consciousness. This means if it feels like you're about to fall unconscious, don't worry about it. Let yourself fall unconscious with the expectation of astral projecting in the end. Okay? When you're completely open to your mind being warped, what's going to end up happening is you can go very deep in a you can go very deep with any astral projection exercise. Brain fart. And then you won't stay awake. You will not stay awake if you do that. But try that out. Is it possible for the third dimensional intelligence to interact with the fourth dimensional intelligence? Yes, they can. Sometimes they bring you over there, and then you get to experience what it's like to be fourth dimensional, and they get to experience what it's like to be third dimensional if they come over here. What is time? Thank you, A's Imagination, for the donation. What is time to God? Or what is time in general? Look at time as frames per second. You start witnessing the frames, that starts to make everything seem quite dense, right? You're seeing more reality there. And so you then have to spend time looking at those frames. Because you're spending time looking at those frames, it's giving you perception of time. You remove space, time gets shorter. You increase space, time gets longer. Or, yeah, it gets longer. You can do this just by sitting here, actually. I have a video which takes you through a guided practice which allows you to slow down your perception of time using this concept. If you pay more attention to your environment, the day will slow down. It's kind of like when you're bored at work and you don't want to be there, so you're like focusing on the clock over and over and over again, and time changes. You know, if the day drags. Whereas when you're not paying attention to your day, the day just flies by. Okay, so it's a perception thing. It's based on what you're viewing. For this reason, different dimensions have a different perception of time. They come with their own perception of time because the space is different. You know? And there are certain dimensions that, for example, like the fourth dimension, which are more like just mind as opposed to experiencing space. So you're just experiencing thinking as a plane of existence. And in those dimensional spaces, there is no perception of time. And so it just feels like eternity. Time to God, what is it to God? Basically, it could be anything depending on where it's at. Elise Bay, $5, thank you. It's just an emoji saying good job. I'm gonna stop the live stream 2 hours. Because my ability to comprehend sentences, my ability to speak is depleting. What else have we got? But thank you for joining me here. This has been fun. Is my phone overheating yet? No, it's fine. Couldn't do this on my last one. I've tried. It goes horribly wrong. Cool, let's look at some of these other questions that are in the chat. SMH, this chat needs mods. What's SMH mean? Is it SMH? Is it like a sign? Or is it an acronym? Did you... Whoa, where'd that go? Shake my head, SMH. Shake my head. Thank you.
I need your passport.
Passport.
They text me today for the extension. I'm also going to go to Dr. G meeting.
If they have, oh no, you're going. Well, you are going there.
I'm going to Delta, yeah. Because I'm going to.
Well, you're also going. You're going.
I'm gonna drop, yeah, I'm gonna drop the stuff off. Did you want from the beginnings?
If they have
Your favorite?
the favorite, yeah.
Here's something.
Okay. Did you steal this body? You mean steal? I did not. I did not. This is a krippe. Can you see it? Come on, focus, camera, focus. Cameras focus on live streams? I don't know. Anyway, let's put it here. So, for those of you who know or have seen my rapé video, thank you, I never caught a live stream. Also, you got this one. This is used for plant medicine ceremonies to blow rapé in your sinuses. This is one that I show a lot of on my Instagram stories. It's because I like how it looks. It's so nice. And I got it made here personally in Bali. And the tips, these are die-off horn. So they're die-off deer horn. Deers, their horns, they shed. So they grow, then they just fall off. They don't get killed for their horns. There's no point. And so that's what this is made out of. Because with these krippes, you have to have some element of them being animal. So if you're vegan and that upsets you, I'm sorry, but you don't, I mean, there are ones without it, you know, without the animal aspect to it. But yeah, I was selling those for a time. I was getting them made here for people. And then Sheila got one. Yeah. Tell Sarah that she looks amazing, says Tasha. I will. Why are my dreams so weird? How often do you process your thoughts? If you don't give yourself time to sit with yourself and go through your thoughts that come up throughout the day and give them each their own separate amount of time, they're gonna show up in your dream time to be like, hey, look at me. And sometimes, if not most of the time, they can smash together and get very confusing. You can dream things that make absolutely no sense at first glance. But if you sit there in a lucid dream and you pick it apart, you can start to realize where all these little things come from. Give yourself at least 30 minutes to an hour every day to just think through your thoughts that are coming up, and address them. That way, when you go to sleep, your dream time will be very nice. I know when I've done it right because I always wake up in a dream where I'm inside of a glass house and everything is organized, and it's often just me and this other person there. And he's just looking at me going, you did it. Don't forget about me, please, says Zach. Okay, I won't forget about you. What's that? There isn't it. There isn't another message there, though. What's your sun sign? Is sun sign? I think it's Leo. Ryan. Could you please tell me if you accept cryptocurrency like Bitcoin? It would be helpful, thanks. I've tried in the past, but it seemed like too much for, you know, what I've already got going on, like adding that as a currency thing. So I don't accept Bitcoin, unfortunately. How to heal lethargy, tired eyes. Okay. I'm glad you asked this question because I've wanted to say it for ages. You have to work out. You have to exercise. Everyone who has a body needs to exercise because if you don't, your body just gets tireder and tireder and tireder because you don't wake it up. Okay? If you get used to waking yourself up every morning, like pushing, you just do a few push ups. That's it. Just push ups outside, breathe. Just sprint back and forth a couple of times. Just in your garden, back and forth, and just shake and just like, and stretch, right? You have to activate the body because then you start to teach it to be at that level all the time. And then as you wake up, you'll be waking up more and more energetic. Okay. He Miss Mine says Vanity Productions. Let me see here. I wish there was a search to go through the live chats. Ah, here we go. I'm seeing them now. Is it possible? This is Fluff Tea. Thank you for the donation, $5. Is it possible to see a memory of a past life in a dream? It's no longer a dream at that point. It's very uncommon. Usually, what happens in a dream is the dream will start to resemble somewhat whatever happened in the past life, like a death, but it won't be the exact environment. It'll be your subconscious mind trying to piece together things. And then everything will go black, and then you end up in a memory. Usually, that's how you get to memories whilst being in a dream. The dream becomes like a doorway of sorts. Sometimes things don't go completely blank. Sometimes you just see a door that just looks like it shouldn't be there. Maybe it's a door to your front house that you had in a past life 2 generations ago, you know? And so, or 2 millennia ago. It, yeah. It is possible, though, to see a memory by way of a dream. NZ Toronto says, is it normal to feel weight on your chest when leaving your body? It isn't, actually. It happens a lot, but usually when there's dense energies around you. Sometimes there are realities that are so dense, if your body isn't used to it, your astral body, it can feel like you're suffocating. Especially if your astral body isn't tuned up properly, or you haven't used it, or exercised it, or initiated it properly. It needs to have all the things, all the bells and whistles turned on before you astral project. Otherwise, you can get stuck in the astral realm, like you can be in paralysis. That's what I mean by stuck, not like you can't get out of there. But, or you can go to get out of your body and you actually stretch. You run into all these different problems with your anatomy in the astral plane when you don't deal with the astral body properly. Usually you use an exercise that allows you to develop your astral body before you astral project. That way you come out completely intact. Woo. Pyramids. You came to watch the pyramids, huh? Scrub forward to the beginning of this live stream. 5 minutes in, then I start talking about it. I can't see your super chat. I just scrolled up and did everybody go through it? It must have been way in the beginning, right? $4.99 for Mike. $4.99. Thank you very much. Where do I start to what? Where do I start to become vegetarian? Also, ETA on the telepathy and Kundalini course, and what can I do to heal my heart palpitations from anxiety? Okay, cool. So, where do I start to become vegetarian? Vegetarians still eat dairy, right? You just don't eat meat? And pescatarian is when you only eat fish. Make sure to incorporate, if you're dropping meat out of your diet, incorporate living foods. So enzyme-rich foods. The raw living community is very great with this. Okay, this deals with sprouting a whole bunch of things in order to activate the enzyme activity within the foods. The enzyme activity will allow the food to break down the undigested protein within your body that comes from animal products. Because a lot of people, when they turn vegetarian or vegan or plant-based, different modalities of that, be that fruitarian and probably even breatharianism, what happens is if they're not putting in the right things to break down what they've been putting in their body, then they just carry all of that undigested protein from animals. That's when you see someone who's been vegan for like 3 years or 4, and yet they still look like they eat meat. They haven't gone into the detox phase. And so if you're dropping meat out of your diet, you're becoming a vegetarian, make sure to add into the body things that can break down the stuff that you've been putting into your system, such as kombuchas, fermented cheeses, and sauerkraut. It's amazing. Tastes good with everything. And sprouting wild black rice, which is amazing. Look at it like this. Everything that you need to get out of the body usually has an active counterpart. For example, rice gets stuck to the inside of your intestines and clogs up your villi. Well, to break down rice, you need rice enzymes. So wild rice, black wild rice, you sprout that, it becomes fluffy, it splits like a banana, it's active, it's alive, it has the enzyme potential to break down the cooked rice. Eat that and it'll break down and scrub out any excess undigested rice. Okay. Similar things with similar thing with meat and other things. Whew. This kind of came out of nowhere. See what's happening here? I have a good flow, and then my brain just goes. I'm exhausted. But that's where you would start. ETO and telepathy and Kundalini course. After my next video comes out, 3 weeks after that, I'm starting webinars. 4 webinars. Astral projection one comes first, then the telepathy one comes first, then the Kundalini one, then the dream interpretation, and memory mastery, literally in that order. Okay, keep checking out my website to see updates on that. All right, camera first. Elena. Elena's having trouble remembering the steps to the astral projection course. What you got to do, I had a problem with this too. You have to break it up. Spend days where you're just learning steps 1 to 3, okay? And do that to the point where it gets easy. And then spend days where you're learning 3 to 6, okay? 2 weeks have gone by. You've only studied 1 to 6. Spend the next couple of weeks doing all the side meditations, the 4 side meditations that help you astral project, that kind of grease up your astral body, right? A month has probably gone by at this point, right? You don't have to spend that long. It's just some people take a little longer to learn everything. Go based on your own ability to learn. If you've incorporated everything into your practice, you've memorized it, you committed it to memory, then move on to learning now steps 7 to 9, and then 10. Okay, that's the best way to do it, and then it'll just be in there. Thank you for the donation as well, much appreciated. As always, what else we got here? Can urine therapy and fasting alone be used to do a complete detox? I like that question. I'll answer it in a second. I need to go run to the toilet. Don't go anywhere. I'm back. You can do a complete detox with urine fasting. If you really want to get heavy into it, look into aged urine. I know it sounds gross, right? Sounds gross, but I've heard stories of people completely dropping a ton of weight, cleaning a lot of stuff out of the body. It's because of what happens to urine when you let it sit over a period of time. It actually raises in its pH and goes from like a 6 to a 13, which is like bleach. And at that point, it strips away a lot of things. It dissolves a lot of things. And so if you have a lot of calcification within your joints, if you have a lot of calcification on your bones, it can break it down, especially anything that's stuck in the body due to inhalation, chemicals in the air and stuff like that. It can corrode it pretty fast. Not only that, but urine is more hydratable than normal water, even distilled water. And apparently it's because of the hydrogen bonds within the water, I believe it is. You can look this up. It has an extra bond to it, and that changes its ability to hydrate the cell. It penetrates tissues much deeper, and so everyone becomes very glowy when they do urine therapy. The skin puffs out because it's very hydrated, and so the wrinkles disappear. They look like they're aging backwards, to be honest with you. And so, yeah, very cool, very cool. It's been a while since I told you about urine therapy. The terminology's out the window. But look into it. There's probably a ton of videos on it by now. So many. Just checking out questions. Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Hmm. Have I ever entered the astral realm underwater? Just like showing up there underwater? I have not. How do you meditate in the astral realm? You can actually meditate in the astral realm the same way that you would meditate in the physical realm. When you go outside and you feel the air around you, and you pay attention as to how the air is interacting with your body, and you further pay attention to your body's relationship to its environment, you're now in a meditative state where you're becoming hyper aware of your environment and its impact on your physical body and or your mental state. You can do the same thing in the astral plane. And that's when you'll start to learn about what the astral plane is, what it does, how it communicates, and it can get very interesting, to say the least, with a lot of things actually over there. And so, yeah, it's good to do over there. Is Asgard, says Sky, is Asgard a real place? Have you seen it in the astral? I have not seen Asgard. Thank you for the donation. $2. I have not seen it in the astral plane. Maybe it's somewhere where I should go, right? Elena, I asked that one, answered that one already. I'm scrolling up to make sure I got everyone's questions on. There we go. That's what happened. $2. Thank you. How do you tell who's in your past life? Very good question. How do you tell if someone's been in your past life? So, have you ever sat in front of a piano and felt like you could play it? Just had this feeling like you just know where the hands are supposed to be, right? But let's say you've never been in front of a piano before. So how would you not, like, at all? It's because you're tapping into genetic memory. genetic memory expresses itself in your being by way of feelings. In the same way that if you did know how to play the guitar, you would have a feeling as to how to do it because it's coming from the practice that, those hours that you dedicated towards learning how to play the guitar. You have reference to pull from. You have your past, those lessons that you took. Well, imagine if you didn't have the reference. Someone put a piano in front of you and you just knew in the same way. It's because feelings get carried genetically from person to person, intuitive feelings to be able to do certain things, to move your hands in a certain way, like muscle memory. And so, to get back to your question, how do you tell if someone was in your past life? When you see someone, you have a feeling that you recognize them. Okay? Sit with the feeling though. Don't just outright say you're from a past life. Because what you could be sensing into is a space within your subconscious mind that is being reminded of so many other people. Say, for example, you see a girl and you're like, were you in my past life? That's what you say in your head. You don't say it out loud, they might run away. But internally, you say that question, like, was she in my past life? And if you sit there and drop your awareness into your body and expect these feelings to interpret themselves either through language or through imagery internally, your feelings will start to paint a picture as to why this person looks so familiar to you. It could be because they're reminding you subtly of someone within your past, of a Disney character, of your teachers, And so it's good to be able to get up in your feelings and try to figure this out first. Because if you go with you're from a past life and you might be biased towards that opinion, you haven't even figured it out yet. That might stop you from discovering a different part of yourself that's pulling from other references within your past, which, by the way, if you allow yourself to go into that direction, you become way more experienced with your psyche, and that can lead into other things. Okay. Now I'm finding those super chats. What it is they show up on my chat screen, but they show up randomly. They don't show up as they come in all the time. Can you see tulpas on the astral plane? And are they their own entity? Are they their own entity at that point? Says Vanity Productions, $5 donation. Thank you. You can see tulpas in the astral plane. It's good you mentioned in the astral plane part, because usually they just show up in the etheric plane where a lot of the imagination takes place. Sometimes though, they can cross over from the etheric plane and show up in the astral dimensions. Not very far though before they're cut down, they're axed, because their very existence doesn't work with some of the places over there. They just can't exist there. But yeah, to an extent, yeah. Especially in the third dimensional plane, you can send a tulpa or a thought really close to someone here, and they can receive it. For those of you who don't know what a tulpa is an imaginary construct within your mind. You can create them just by sitting here and imagining a beast or a person, then give them an intelligence or an intention to carry out something, and they'll get that intention. Now they're programmed. Or you can do it in the astral plane and you can watch them go. I've used tulpas to send messages. I literally create an envelope with a paper message in there, which is a thought form, and I throw them into the ether, and then people catch them on their side, either through pings or suddenly feeling like I said something, or they will actually see it in their dreams. Most of the time it shows up there first. And so, much love to everyone, Larry. Much love. And so, yeah. You can see you see tulpas on the astral plane, and are they their own entity? Yes. They're not their own entity because they're from you. They're an extension of you. Mike says, oh, that's the vegetarian one. See, the vegetarian one that Mike asked, the super chat, didn't have your one, Vanity. productions above it. Now it does. It just showed up above it. This was done like a few minutes ago too. This profile does not exist. 499, thank you. Says, I'm going to practice tonight, but I always tend to give up and go to sleep afterwards. How can I stop this urge? Also, how do I stay still? First thing, don't stay still. A lot of practices will stay to say. A lot of practices will stay. A lot of practices will say to stay still. But don't stay still, because when you do that, you actually cause yourself to become very irritable because you have this urge to move. Your body locks up and it actually grounds your awareness to your physical body, which is the opposite thing that we're trying to do here, right? And so, what I say to people is allow yourself to move if you feel like moving, and when you finally stop moving, it could be 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in, then the practice starts, right? When it comes to you giving up, you have to want to astral project more than you want sleep. It's hard, no fault of your own. It's hard because our entire lives we've conditioned ourselves to really be excited, to be excited about going to sleep. We love our bed, we love the warmth. And so you basically have to go against years of conditioned habit. And then you can pull it off. Okay. And what you do is when you feel like you're about to sleep or go to bed, tell yourself, no, I don't want to sleep. This is more important. Then list at least 3 reasons as to why astral projection is more important than falling asleep. And that should start to generate a spark in you to stick with it until you end up astral projecting. Let's check my phone to see if it's gonna overheat. No, it's fine. Okay, cool. Wow, 2 hours and 23 minutes. I think YouTube can only record live streams for like 3-4 hours until you have to do something to change that whole system. But we should end soon because I think a lot of you are getting tired. Thank you for being here anyway. 267 of you here right now. 269 likes. That's awesome. That's nice and even. That is so even. Okay, now I just shifted. It's 2s across the board. It's kind of like a voting system. They were close, right, last night? Use Command F to search. Ooh, I'm gonna try that. Command F. Oh, but it just searches my page, doesn't search the chat transcript. Asgard. I wish Asgard was a real place. It probably is. I'm leaning towards too soon, says that's what happened. I'm leaning towards the idea that Asgard was a spaceship that landed on Mount Olympus, because when you see Mount Olympus, it's actually flat. What I could do is astral project back in time to when Mount Olympus was a point and see what was happening there. That sounds pretty cool. This profile does not exist. Did you get all your questions answered? Let's look at some that aren't in the super chat. Just make sure that everyone has a chance to get something answered. What is urine therapy? Says Eric B. Urine therapy is the therapy of drinking urine. Yeah, people have done it to detox the body, mainly because of what urea is made up of. There are huge practical claims towards this notion that urine can make you live a very long time. Like a very long time. And so, one of which is urea. Urea, within, every time you pee, 1% of your urine is urea, 98% is water, and the rest is hormones and leftover vitamins and minerals from food. Okay? Am I going to do more chi videos? I was thinking about that yesterday, so maybe. And so, the reason why this is important is because your cells now have a readily available source of nutrients that have already been assimilated in a way that the body can then take in, recognize, and then use. So that's a plus. On top of that, the urea within urine is known to soften skin and increase collagen production, right? This is crazy because there's a term in urine therapy, in the urine therapy community called looping, where you would loop urine over and over again, and that urea stacks up in your system. Now, if you think this is crazy, when it comes to products, healthcare products, like makeup, stuff like that, they actually put horse urea, and probably even cow urea. I'm just guessing with the cow thing, but horse urea is definitely in a lot of the products that people use on their face. And so, and then on top of all of this, there are stem cells in urine that people are constantly peeing out. They actually proved in Japan that they could grow a tooth out of stem cells found in urine. They collected urine from the public and grew a tooth. And so this is because the stem cells in urine are known as polymorphic stem cells. And if we go even more into all of this, the fluid inside of the womb when you're being made for 9 months is actually yours and your mother's pee. It's called blood plasma. Okay, and this plasma is literally pee, just filled with, just filled with stem cells and nutrients and hormones. The same thing that you pee out every morning, okay, and throughout the day. And so you're breathing in pee for 9 months, you're drinking pee for 9 months, it's hydrating you, it's creating your body. And then we're born and we pee it down the drain. Most cultures don't do that, especially in the East and in India and China. They're brought up in their household to keep drinking their pee in the morning, especially in the morning because overnight your body has scanned its systems, it's created antidotes for a lot of the things that are wrong with you, and it's put it inside of your bladder. And so when you drink it, any problem that's been going on in your body for a long period of time gets the antidote and you start to treat a lot of conditions. This is why it's known to be very healthy. Okay? And so there's a lot to it, like a lot, from growing teeth to having your own antidote in your body to being bathed in it for 9 months. It created an entire organism, right? And we're told that it's a waste product, but by the way, it can't be used as a waste product because your kidneys aren't able to deal with that amount of waste. So your kidneys, they just filter the blood plasma, more on that in a second. They just filter. All of the waste goes to the intestinal tract. All right. Now, the reason why I'm calling it blood plasma is because if you bleed yourself into a pint glass, or that's a lot of blood, or into a test tube and you let that sit for a couple of days, what will happen is all your blood platelets will sink to the bottom and you'll be left with pee, right? Because the blood in your system is actually unfiltered urine. And so you hear people say that you're like 80% water. Well, the majority of that is pee. And so we're walking around in pee and we pee it all out. And it's not really what we might have thought for a long period of time. Look it up. There are massive documentaries on it. I think one called Taking the Piss is a great one to start with. And just think about it. I convinced someone to drink their own urine one time when we were here in in Bali because everyone was talking about it at the dinner table. We're all open-minded people, and there was a lot of us there. And then we took mushrooms. And then she was like, "I'm gonna go drink my pee." And then she drank her pee, and I think she got a little bit more high because the psilocybin was in her urine. And so yeah, that's what urine therapy is. Check it out. It's definitely worth looking into. Everyone's gonna be like in the beginning, but it's expected, you know. Jen, LOL, welcome back. Ryan, can you go Vanity? I think I did get your super chat. Vanity Productions. Drink it, says Anthony Smith. Yes. Yes. Relaxed profile. Hmm. Those questions crack me up. LOL. Ryan, can you become rich by using astral projection like lottery numbers? I've tried that. Ugh. Oh, man, it was like one big cosmic joke. I spent about a week astral projecting and trying to foresee the lotto numbers in the UK. I came back and I was like certain. I'd gotten three numbers, four numbers right throughout the week. I knew what to do. I knew the practice. And so what I did was I came back with seven numbers. And get this, I even Instagrammed this. I screenshotted it. Every number was one behind. You know the odds. Every one. It felt like there was a bunch of guides around me being like, "No, you don't get to win the lottery because that would be a distraction, Ryan." And I was like, "Oh man." Anthony Smith says it was Anunnaki though. Look into Corey Good and his discussions about the Anunnaki. He mentioned as to how it's not even a real thing. He mentioned as to how people implanted that story into the minds of the public through media, like ancient aliens, to make us believe that we were once slaves. Because when you put people into a slave-like mentality, they act like slaves. And so look into his whole Cosmic Disclosure season. You can probably find clips of it on YouTube. But you can find the whole season over on Gaia. Not a paid sponsor. Don't do drugs is eternal doom. When I win, I got you. Thank you very much. What's the wildest thing you've ever seen? There's one time I was on ayahuasca. Yeah, hey, which makes you crap your pants. Started good already, right? And I ended up astral projecting, and I ended up going into a realm that reminded me of the scene in Ant-Man when he goes to the quantum universe. Everything is small. Well, everything that was small is big. Everything is pink, has this kind of translucent like quality to it. And when I was there, I saw what looked like Gandhi. It was a bold Indian guy with a pregnant belly, and I could see through his belly. Everything was light around me, very luminescent. And I could see this little human inside his belly. And I said, "What is that?" And he just kind of put out this vibe that this is the first human being ever created in this realm before we create them in 3D or on Earth plane. And so this must have been a point in time which predates human creation. Because it's like he was creating them, that incubating them, these little templates. And then around him was different humanoid figures that looked like they were made out of meat, trying to interact and have a human experience. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. The weirdest. Have you seen UFOs in dreams? I have in dreams, and those dreams have often not been normal dreams. The construct hasn't been my mind. Those are weird ones. And the ships have always been huge, like football field size huge. Bam, 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 bam. Astral projection exists, bro, at Canab Close. It does exist. If you don't believe us, do it for yourself and find out. It's like the best piece of advice there. Because it's not out of the realm of possibility to do it. It just takes a little bit of practice. Same Ryan, UFO dreams are really weird. Yeah. Soft-built pyramids, Tenzin Bahuta? Bahuta? Hmm. You know, I haven't met Thoth, but I have met Osiris. Osiris? No, not Osiris. Who's the jackal guy with the dog? Is it Osiris? Jackal god. Anubis, there we go. Yeah, thank you for that. Anubis. I've met Anubis. I'm not going to talk about it here because I wanted to make a video on it. It's too good to talk about on a live stream. It's choppy and has cat interruptions. Yeah. I've also met a bird, what do they call them, Seraphim? A bird body with a female head. They're supposed to be bad though. But this one was good, actually helped me out. It picked me up and flew me up because I was about to be seen by these people in Egypt. So yeah, Eternal Doom bye. See ya! It's probably really late by you now, huh? It's like 1:27 over here. When do I think the next video will come out? I'll try and aim for next week. Or within the week, I'll try. Sometimes editing just kind of takes up a lot of time. Do you super chat your questions? Pain C, says Ali Berry. Priscilla G says, have you astral projected to a place within your dreams? Is it possible? You can astral project into other people's dreams. Astral projecting into your own dreams, I don't think that's a thing, because here's something that's pretty awesome. I haven't mentioned this yet. Your dreams are created out of your astral body. Your astral body is a dream body. It's like recycling. And so for this reason, you can't astral project into your dreams because you need your astral body to travel. Oh, that was a prayer question. Ryan, do you pray ever? I do, every single day. Multiple times a day, actually. That is a practice that I really like doing. Yeah, prayer. There are two parts to a prayer. There's asking and there's receiving, or in other words, there's speaking, then there's listening. And when you pray, you open yourself up to divine intelligences that can speak through you, that can be of you, be that your higher self, or that can be from other things. Most people don't listen when they pray. They just speak and they get up and they walk away. So they don't receive a lot of what they're asking, be that insights or anything that they need to help them in life. They don't wait around long enough to get those blessings, those insights. And so just sitting there in the morning and listening. If you're going to speak for 5 minutes, listen for 40 minutes, you know? Or if you're going to speak for 10, listen for 60. Well, thank you, Ryan. Speaking and listening is so simple and so powerful. It's huge. It changed my life. Like it changes lives. Like it's a serious thing. Prayer is no joke. It takes a while to learn how to pray properly. Like I was raised in Christianity, but I never called myself a Christian. Like I wasn't a practicing Christian. I only started getting back into it and kind of reevaluating a lot of the things spoken about in Christianity 2 years ago, when I went to Southwest again, the ayahuasca church, 2 years ago. So it would have been that live stream I mentioned where I was with Wes, who's actually a subscriber. That's when about a few months back from that time, that's when I started dabbling in Christianity again and kind of listening to everything and giving it a second, third, and fourth look over. And at that point in my life, I have a completely different relationship to it now than I did back then. Back then, I was looking at it completely wrong. And because I had the wrong idea about Christianity, I wasn't getting everything that I was promised within the church, because my perception on it was wrong. And I can't say it's like this for everyone, So like, if you've been studying the faith for a while, it's not going to help you at all, because it does help you still, even if you are misinterpreting things. Still, that was literally told to me by Jesus, and so it still has an impact. But and that was also in the Astral. But yeah, definitely don't close your mind off to other religions. Be open to every religion because there's truth in everything, even Islam. Study that a little bit. Uh, what's the Hebrew one? Is it Hebrew? Study a little bit of that too. Study Tibetan Buddhism. Study everything you can. And keep your mind open to interpreting things differently, even things that you thought you had down in the past. Reevaluate it. Especially if you've had mystical experiences in between these moments, because those mystical experiences change your mind, and then when you revisit old things, you see them differently. And so yeah. Yeshua, one of his names. He has so many names. Ayahuasca versus more naturally induced astral experiences. Which one has proven to be more significant? Significant ayahuasca. Realistic astral projection. With astral projection comes a certain realism that you can't really get on ayahuasca. Yet, ayahuasca gives you profound knowings about the nature of reality, which changes you psychologically. You don't get much psychological change with astral projection. It's more of an experiential thing. Still drink aromas at the moment? No, because I haven't been able to make the one that I want because I don't have my laboratory here. Do these religions affect your spirit guides? They don't. Matter of fact, your spirit guides have so many badges from so many different religions, it's ridiculous. Seth says not religious. That might change. That might change. Don't take my word for it. Just wait. Just wait it out. Just see what happens to you. So if you're on the spiritual journey, if you think you're never going to take psychedelics, you end up taking psychedelics, no matter how against them you are. If you think you're not going to go into religion, you're going to end up going into religion, no matter how against it you think you are. You always end up including these things into your journey because they're necessary for you. The longer you're in resistance to them, the longer it actually takes you to advance in your spirituality. A lot of you might not like hearing that, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I mean, I know there was a time when I didn't like hearing about that, but... Good night, Ryan. Good night, nervous Ryan. Is school necessary? You can do without it. Most millionaires haven't gone to school, so you can do without it. Especially the topics. You can do without a lot of topics in school. A lot of it's just clutters your mind with things you don't need to think about. Just do the things that you gravitate towards, not that you're pressured into. Don't do things out of fear. Don't learn math and geography because you're afraid that if you don't learn those things, you're not going to have a job in the future. Okay, if you're making a decision like that out of fear, it's more than likely not gonna do. Yeah, it's in my life it's been pointless. Doing things out of fear, no. But everything I did because I gravitated towards it out of curiosity, though, that's different. Okay, I did media, I did multimedia, so cameras, I did graphics that dealt with editing videos, painting, drawing, all that stuff. One moment. Baby's crying. She's okay now. And she's still crying. I might have to go, guys. Yeah, it's getting bad. Okay, speak to you all soon. Thank you for coming here. Good night. I know it's late for you guys. Enjoy the astral realm or the dream realm, wherever you might find yourself to be in the next hour. Or she stopped crying. Does that mean I can stay? Okay, let's go for like another 15 minutes. Another 15 minutes. Have you tried 5-MeO DMT as opposed to Bufo? As opposed to Bufo? Synthetic versus Toad. Ah, I have not done synthetic Bufo. Is there such a thing as synthetic Bufo? You mean synthetic DMT and Toad Bufo 5-MeO, or synthetic 5-MDMO, which is 5-MeO. Blah. I've tried Bufo. I recorded the entire thing. It's on my YouTube channel. It's like the main video that's there. And it goes on for like 20 minutes. But I'm not sure if that was synthetic or if that was from the Toad. Is that a thing? Do you guys know? Do you know of this? Can you get synthetic 5-MeO DMT? Was the synthetic version just dimethyltryptamine, DMT? The one that was 5-MeO DMT with my body wasn't stronger than DMT. It was nowhere near stronger than natural DMT, like not natural, like self-creating, but you know, DMT. $5 super chat ignored. Hey guys, come on, I didn't ignore them, they disappear. Let me see if I can find it for you though. Bro, read my comment. Okay, let's look for it. Found it! Like, how do you say your name? It just says Sun God at the end. I like that. Sun Goku. Bro, I'm on semen retention, haven't busted a nut for 370 days. Wow. A demo mode. Wait, what? A demo mode me if I busted a nut, I'll lose my angel power? The demon named is Succubus. Yeah, don't worry about it. It sounds like they were just messing with you. Angel power. I don't. Nice snapback, bro. I don't listen to what a lot of succubuses or shadow beings say over there. Like, I just don't listen to it. Dante, I'll find it in a second. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I don't listen to what a lot of them say. Congrats on the semen retention though. That's pretty cool. Going that long. How have you been doing it? Because there's a couple of ways. There's a couple of ways of doing it, which I'm not saying either or is wrong. Some are good, some are great. The way I did it was I just turned off my arousal completely. My mind didn't go there, my body didn't go there. And so everything is shut down. And because of that, I didn't end up spending a lot of time thinking about certain thoughts. Instead, I just had more room to think about other things. You know, I wasn't distracted. It's kind of like when you're hungry. When you're constantly hungry, all you think about is food. Everything about you wants food. But if you're not hungry anymore, now you have time and energy to think about other things. And so, yeah. I want to restart, to be honest. I feel like the benefits aren't that good anymore. Yeah. I found the most benefits came from it when I just turned it off completely, psychologically. No arousal. If you get arousal, and you're holding in your semen, it can cause you to have very weird outbursts. You can get very awkward. You can get very hormonal. The body kind of just gets jacked up. So is the mind. But again, there are also benefits to it, of course, especially if you're looking into attracting a mate. You're not going to be smelling like someone in heat. And so, yep. Let's try to find that other super chat though, huh? Wait, what was the... Yeah. That's it. So... I cannot see it, Captain. No, are you sure you did? Like it's... I see the Sun God one and that's it. Did it go through properly? You can write it out now. I'll have my eyes open. I can see it. I can see it coming in. Ryan, how can I astral project tonight? Buy the astral projection mastery course over my almost said YouTube channel, on my website, ryancropper.com. Third eye isn't easy to open. It's kind of tricky. It's like a Rubik's Cube. Conditional love. What was the other one, eh? Dante. Dante, is it your one that disappeared? Write your question again. I'm looking at all of your I'm looking at all of your current comments and none of them have the comment that you put in the super chat. Just type it out again. I'll see it. LOL, says Ali Berry. Have I ever done CE5? I haven't. That sounds very strange. How can you unlock your entire brain? None of it can be working 100% all at once. You can unlock aspects of it and shift in between different altered states because you have to, right? In order to unlock or activate one part of the brain, you have to be doing something different. Because certain parts of your brain are used for certain things. So to unlock all at the same time, you'd have to be doing everything all at the same time. The best way to unlock aspects of your brain that haven't been activated for a while is just to do new things. Put yourself in different situations and different environments that require you to use different aspects of your brain. You can do the same thing with altered states. If you put yourself in altered states that you don't usually go into, other parts of your brain will turn on. There we go. Dante says, it appears most people are animals walking around in people suits. How do I bring more higher vibrating being in the physical? Okay, well, the first thing you want to do is try your hardest not to lead into how you might currently feel upon observing most people being animals in human suits. I would imagine you would feel very just frustrated, right? Don't focus on that because you'll just spiral further into the other direction of a low vibrational state. If you're in resistance to a lot of what you're seeing, you end up vibrating lower. Doesn't matter how aware you are, you end up going backwards. And so what you want to do is look at it in a way which will make it make sense to you so that you don't end up getting so upset or frustrated, so that you can vibrate higher. What I like to do is look at people as a combination of things. Yes, they have animal tendencies because they're living in an animal body, but they are not the ones with the tendencies, really. When a soul is in a body that is programmed to act like an animal, you're going to end up wanting to eat because the body has that within its genetic code, wanting to procreate, because the body has that in its genetic code. So what you're looking at is a soul that is divine and pure, and is the highest frequency. It's just it's vibrating through a vessel that's lower, and so it's going to be acting different. All right. Make sure to see the divinity in the person, not so much in what they're doing. That way, you won't be so torn up about what you're seeing in your environment. And this goes for anything that you're seeing that's making you upset or feeling uncomfortable, within the public. So yeah. I did see that super chat. There it is. Benz, $5. Thank you very much. I keep having unintentional astral projections. What's going on? Have you been trying astral projection? Because sometimes when you try astral projection, you open those floodgates, and when they're open, this actually happens with every person who's trying to master and or just trying to have that one-off experience. When you start the process, it's hard to get out of it. In Tibetan Taoism, is it Taoism, Tibetan Taoism, or Buddhist? Yeah. In Taoism, they say that the practice of ritual is hard to get out of once you enter into the practice of ritual. And they were talking about it in context of immortality and doing very simple practices to elongate your lifespan. Tibetan Buddhism, there we go. In Tibetan Buddhism, they say that. And so I learned that from the Mao, get this book if you wasn't around when I recommended books, the Taoist meditation book, the Mao Shan tradition of great purity. And I've experienced this as well. When you start astral projecting, you start that whole thing, it's not easy to get out of it. It's like you either master it or you're just thrown into the astral realm every night of the days of your life. And so when you master it, you can stop that from happening, of course. But if you want to stop doing it, you have to get really good at sleeping. All right? This is how you stop it from happening. When you keep being interrupted at nighttime, you have to focus on the comfortability of your pillow, the warmth of your bed, the expectation of having dreams, and letting your mind just go cloudy. When you do those things, you'll fall asleep. Okay? And that's how you can stop. Awesome. That Vic, $5 donation. Thank you, Vic. I've been seeing a lot of people's analytics on Gamatria? What's that? Gamatria? Saying something is going to happen. TMMR on 11/9 IE tsunami. What do you perceive? Tsunami? I don't perceive a tsunami. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. That wasn't in the cards. But the thing that... Oh, almost gave way too much information there. I want to save that for a video. That wasn't related to your question. But tsunami, I don't see a tsunami happening anytime soon. Yeah. But what is this Gamtaria? Gamatria. What is that? Is that a new platform? Evening all, evening, Tom. Is old numerology? Huh. It's in effect? Is this... Google it. I've never heard of this before. Oh, we're at 3 hours? Okay, one more question, then I'm out. I think 3 hours is probably overkill. Oh, this was a good one. This is Addy Says, Ryan, why does Jesus' name stop astral attacks? So, Jesus is the embodiment, or one of the embodiments of God. There is more God in him than the Son or the Holy Spirit. When entities come face to face with, hey Luna, come face to face with source consciousness, they're forced to resonate higher, and if they resonate higher, they then have to focus on their problems. You know, it's kind of like being in front of a therapist that can just look at you and then you have a breakdown. Are you going to stay in front of that therapist or are you going to run away? Well, if you're in front of God, you now have to face everything. If you're in front of beings that are embodying God, or that energy, that just that divine energy, and you're hiding from something, whether it be about your existence, yourself, or the nature of your reality, you're going to have to face that. And so when you command Jesus' name, these beings, or Yeshua, these beings freak out. Because like, oh crap, I don't want to go there. I don't want to face all this stuff that's making me how I am, which is low vibrational. Then they scatter. You can also be this kind of pillar of light. And it's very interesting, to say the least. Okay, I gotta go. This is the real goodbye. I'll see you when I next see you. Good luck. Thank you all for staying and donating and just being great. Take care. Peace.